This is the face of evil exposed. Not some innocent Welsh choir boy, but instead a murder-obsessed freak of Rwanda. A ticking time bomb that had already been flagged at 18 by authorities. He's finally pleaded guilty, raised his voice through a surgical face mask, but raised it all the same, and admitted to these monstrous murders. But let's be crystal clear. This isn't just the face of a killer. This is the face of catastrophic system failure, where innocent lives were sacrificed on the altar of political correctness and bureaucratic incompetence. Keir Starmer has promised that Britain and its authorities, fat lot of good they did, but he says that they will leave no stone unturned in uncovering the truth. Well, how about turning the stone of the cover-up, Keir? Rudakubana wasn't some misguided teen. He was a ticking time bomb. A knife at 13, breaking a student's wrist so hard with a hockey stick, 3 warnings to the Prevent programme about his obsession with terror attacks. He was on their radar. And what happened? 3 innocent angels are dead. 10 others are wounded. There's a monster that should have been locked up, should have been tracked like you wouldn't believe, free to roam. But let's not forget, the man who says he will leave no stone unturned in Keir Starmer, he was too busy focusing on far-right thuggery in the immediate aftermath of this tragedy. He did all he could to stir the pot. He jumped straight into a campaign to stamp out online posts that didn't fit his narrative. Being in full knowledge of the facts, he would have had the full facts at his purview. He didn't tell us about Rudakubana's history. He didn't expose the truth about his obsessions. The only thing he cared about was shutting down any dissenting voices that questioned the multiculturalism mania. Meanwhile, this bloodthirsty psychopath was sat pretty. The media painted him as a saint, a youthful Christian angel, a BBC-friendly star, no less. No doubt it was mental health that did it, and certainly no other motive. And what do we get for it? Well, we get a guilty plea, yes, but we get no answers. The government now doesn't have to tell us the full story. The damage is done, and we'll be left in the dark. They'll be loving this. Prevent failed. Rudakubana was flagged 3 times. I repeat that, 3 times, and nothing was done. What kind of sick system lets this happen? What kind of society watches children get butchered and does absolutely nothing? This wasn't some unforeseeable tragedy. The warning signs were there clear as day. Everyone knew who Rudakubana was, even his dad, according to some reports, knew what he was capable of, at least to some extent, and still there was nothing. And now Starmer stands by the way, the reason we know that about his dad was because his dad stopped him trying to go to school, the school that he was excluded from. But Starmer focuses on empty promises of accountability. Where was this outrage when 3 girls died? Why would we believe you now, Starmer? Where was the condemnation when a terrorist sympathiser was allowed to actually wander the streets? His outrage was reserved only for those he could blame for challenging the status quo of our multiculturalism mania. And now this monster, this walking horror show, gets to avoid a whole life tariff because of his age, because he's under the age of 21. I tell you, I'm questioning, are we seriously suggesting that we ought to be letting this psychopath breathe? I mean, I'll probably be cancelled for saying that, but frankly, right now, I don't care. The system has failed. The system failed those kids, it failed those families, it's failed us, the British people. Starmer has failed us, the British people. We deserve answers. No more excuses, no more bureaucratic red tape, no more Yvette Cooper, refugees welcome, standing up and saying that there'll be a speedy inquiry. How many more lives will it take before we demand accountability? This isn't a tragedy. I said that earlier. Tragedy's too nice. This is a scandal. This is a scandal of epic proportions. And Keir Starmer and his government, they're complicit in what's happened to our country. We ought not forget. We ought not forgive. and we ought not stop demanding the truth to be exposed.